Good evening, everyone, to our executive leadership call tonight. I am your host, Corey Beagley. For those of you that are new to the call or are not familiar with me, I am our sales manager here at ASEA for US and Canada. Guys, I appreciate your time tonight. I'm extremely excited for tonight's call. It's very special. We found a gem, if you will, a treasure of a principle that Tyler shares with the team, and it's incredibly brilliant. And so I'm very excited for you guys to be able to participate in this material tonight. Before we get to that, I want to share a very quick announcement. And right now we have a very exciting promotion going on in North America, in US and Canada. It is the Kickstart Your Fast Start promotion. It's quite simple. It's an enrollment-based promotion. We are very, very excited about this one, guys. For quite some time, the field has been asking for things such as free shipping, and I'm excited that we've been able to deliver. So how it works is it's free shipping and enrollment for them, for those who enroll, and fast start and preferred customer bonuses for you. So let's take a dive into this. It's quite simple. Like I said, it's an enrollment promotion. We had a huge success with our previous promotion, the Give the Gift of ASEA promotion, where it was an incredible opportunity to share the culture of ASEA with your friends, loved ones, those you run into. So many incredibly inspiring success stories from that promotion. And now a lot of people are returning and picking the conversation back up with these individuals, and they're deciding to join ASEA. And so whether it's as a preferred customer or an associate, whatever's best for them, this promotion is going to help you capitalize on those conversations and those individuals who are ready to get started. So if you're going to enroll a new associate, you have an opportunity to get free shipping and or free enrollment. If that new associate enrollment order has between 200 PV and 399 PV, they will qualify for free shipping. And then if they get anything over 400 PV on that first enrollment order, they will not only get free shipping, but also free shipping and free enrollment. So this is something that's very new. We've never done anything like this before. It will be short-lived. It's now until the 6th of March. So you have about 7 weeks total. We're already half a week into this. So again, that's for associates. If somebody, it makes more sense to sign up as a preferred customer, guys, we have an awesome opportunity for them as well. A 100 PV order or more will qualify for free shipping for those preferred customers. Again, that very first enrollment order that they make as they join ASEA as a preferred customer, if they purchase 100 PV or more, they will get free shipping. And let me remind you how preferred customers work. They also need to, by default, by definition, enroll in our auto ship program as well. And your personal volume, your associate volume is half for preferred customers. So a 100 PV order to qualify for free shipping, that is 2 cases of our Redox bottles. So keep in mind, 2 cases for either our preferred customer or our associate's gonna qualify for free shipping. So again, extremely excited about this. It's gonna go pretty quick. March 6th is right around the corner. If you're trying to qualify for Ascent Diamond Summit, this is an incredible opportunity as those promotions also end on March 6th. So you can double down and earn some pretty awesome incentive trips, help those that are joining ASEA for the first time get free shipping and enrollments. And then by nature, according to our incredible compensation plan, you guys will also benefit from fast start and preferred customer bonuses. So a very exciting time to kick off the new year. We've had some incredible events lately, some Super Saturdays and regional events, and this promotion is going to help continue to kickstart 2020. We know it's going to be a historic year, and we're so excited for that. I want to keep this short and sweet because of the material we have today. So the last announcement that I have for you guys is do not forget to join us on February 4th for our next ASEA In Touch call with the incredible Karen Riley. So guys, I want to jump into and kind of change my screens over here as I chat for a minute. A while back, we had a promotion that went on, and it was called Double the Difference. And some of you might remember that. Part of that promotion would allow you to qualify for a training from Tyler Norton. Extremely powerful webinars and principles that he taught. And we actually came across it, and as we were watching it, it was just, wow, we have got to share this with as many people as possible. So tonight we do have a video recording of Tyler of a webinar that he shares with a select group of qualified associates from a year or so ago. So I just want to make sure you understand, A, it is a recording and it's brilliant. It's incredible. It's very, very powerful. He goes through an ASEA success map for you. Some of the things he teaches, you get to know Tyler a little bit more as a human. He's so inspiring, but he himself is a human. Very intimate stories that he shares. His his journey to where he came from and now where he is at in his career on the corporate end of things. And so very inspiring. And so we wanted to share this with you, but just a quick disclaimer. There are a few things in there, some dates. He has homework assignments. I just want to let you know that this is a previous recording from a year or so ago. So if he's talking about dates that don't make sense, that's exactly why. And if he asks for homework assignments and promises to get back to you, that is not included in tonight's call. And there's a series of these videos. So depending on how much you guys like these, we'd love to share some of those other ones with you as well. But I want to jump straight into and get to this video so you guys can hear from Tyler himself. Let me pull this up. And again, we appreciate you guys being with us tonight. We're so excited for this video, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So I will go ahead and turn the time over to this incredible video. And if you are able to be with us for the duration of this video, it will end. And at the end of this video, we'll conclude tonight's call. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your new year, staying out of the cold if that applies to you. And again, we appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy this training from Tyler that covers all things from leadership to, like I mentioned, that success map and what it takes to get your why and what you're looking for from your ASEA business. So thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Let's jump in. I wanted to start with a success map that for a long time I've been wanting to train at ASEA. Candidly, when my dad and I started the company, and when we both were looking at early things that we wanted to share, I built this success map. And the reason I refer to it as a map, it's a "you are here" map. And I think it's an easy way for you to kind of assess where you are in a cycle that I believe is recursive, that continues to happen over time, but that will also give you a really clear reference point where you can kind of point to yourself. And even more than that, I'm hoping that some of the things I can teach you can serve as a "you are here" map for you as you work with your teams. So if you're a leader that's got a large organization and you're looking for a way to kind of diagnostically view where your people and teams might be at a given point in time, I'm hoping that this map I'm going to share with you over the next several minutes will become a framework that you can use. I should also tell you that I plan to use this map in sessions 2 and sessions 3. So essentially the whole D101 level course is going to be pulling off of this "you are here" map as we talk about mindset and skill set together. When let me give you some background on me if you don't know me too well. I spent 17 years in the financial services industry. I started at the very bottom levels as a retail salesperson. My dad was kind of grumpy about it because it was the insurance and investment industry. He wanted me to continue on to graduate and postgraduate studies and follow his lead. I ended up following his lead in many ways, but he was kind of worried about the industry that I chose to go to work in. And I remember waking up every day at the very beginning and feeling unemployed every single day. I remember realizing that if I was going to cash a check, it was going to be a function of what I did, that there was no steady income. And I traded the sure thing for the maybe. And I believe most people that are doing this in this industry are willing to say, I want to trade for the maybe. I want to trade for the upside and the potential of building my own business. Now, in that space, I ended up being both a sales rep at the very basic levels. I was at kitchen tables. I was in back rooms of small businesses. I was in boardrooms, not at the very beginning of my career, but I was ultimately in boardrooms. And I really cut my teeth going out and learning how to communicate and how to sell to people with my heart across from a kitchen table. And I set records in my company for the number of transactions that were done in a given month. I remember selling 28, 30, 35 families products inside of a 30-day window of time. And it took me a while to ramp up to that level of productivity, not too long. It was inside of my 15-month window that I was doing that. And I was working for a large New York domiciled insurance carrier at that time. They asked me to be a sales manager, so they'd never asked anybody with as little experience as I had had. And I said, well, this seems a little early for me. They said, you might be taking a risk that could hurt your career. It might help you. And I tell people that when I became a sales manager, when I became more concerned about the success of other people, as opposed to just making the success of my own sales work, but my life went from the black and white Wizard of Oz to color. I was happier. I found myself willing to work harder for someone else than I was willing to work for myself. It was the strangest phenomenon. Not all people are like that, but for me, when I started to recruit and build my own team, I found myself so in love with the people that I had brought onto my team. Their success became my passion. I wanted them all to win. And I can tell you that I can name all the people in that first team. I hired 15 people over 18 months. I retained 12 of those 15 in an industry where only 1 out of 10 stays in a relatively short period of time. And we had the #1 sales management team out of 125 teams across the country. And that was inside of 18 months building that team. I was competing with teams that had been built for 10 and 12 and 15 years. I look back on it now kind of surprised that that happened, but I can tell you this, I loved my people. I cared about every person I recruited. I knew their wives' names. I knew their children's names. I had them to my home for dinner. I spent unbelievable amounts of time with them. I went on upwards of 20 to 30 to 40 appointments with each person I hired and recruited. I never let them go by themselves. The least I did was 15 joint calls with someone that felt like he already knew what he was doing, had been in the industry before, and I still said, I'm going with you. I'm going to go with you on every appointment. And I kept that promise. To this day, I'll get Christmas cards, and we put them all up on our wall, lots of pictures of families. And every person that was on that team that I recruited, gosh, almost 20 years ago exactly, every person on that team continues to stay in touch. I get notes of thank you from those people. What I'm about to teach you, what I'm about to share with you, are principles aimed at helping you build your business. But let's be clear, you build your business by being passionate about others. You build your business by making your core leaders, wherever they are in your organization, get close to you and learn from you, and they will respond and react to the amount of love and concern that you show to them. This map that I'm about to show you was born of years and years of experience. I ran the national training schools for Mutual of New York, one of the oldest insurance companies in America. I trained anywhere from 100 to 300 brand new associates every single month. They would fly in from all over the United States, and I owned the training for 3 straight days with some guest faculty members, but mostly my training. That was in my 3rd and 4th year as a sales manager. They asked me to do that. I want you to know that I've spent thousands and thousands of hours thinking about what I'm about to show with you today. And I really want you to ponder and reflect on it. I just want you to step back and think about this map I'm about to share with you. I am utterly convinced that the starting point of your success and anyone else's success begins with this first framework. It first begins with total clarity. Clarity in two key areas that I'm going to go deep on later tonight. We're going to kind of go around the whole map, and then we're going to zoom into this section as our final 20 or 30 minutes. I believe that if you're going to work with anyone, and especially if you're going to be successful, you need to start by articulating very clearly both what it is that you want to accomplish and what you want to achieve at ASEA, and also why you want to do it. I will go into this a little bit later, but everyone I worked with on those teams, the first thing I would ask them to do, and I would take they and their spouse or significant other out for dinner, and I would say, I need you to start by telling me, what do you want from this? What do you want this to be? You can't coach someone that wants to play at a, let's say, a minor league level when you're wanting to be professional league. And so I hope that you're taking time, and I'm going to ask you to do this as homework and send it to me. What is it you're trying to achieve as you get engaged or have been engaged with ASEA? And tell me the why. And let's get into that with some detail. And we're going to do that as homework a little bit later. Second to clarity, I believe you have to have conviction in three key areas. At a minimum, you can add dimensions to the conviction. But clarity and conviction, especially belief in the product, in yourself, and then in the opportunity. I found that when there's a breakdown in this clarity and there's a breakdown in this conviction in both the product, yourself, or the opportunity, everything else in what I'm about to roadmap out for you is at risk. I've also learned that these things can change. You can have triple diamonds. You don't think you can, but you can. You can have a triple diamond who's struggling with conviction of self. I've had conversations with triple diamonds that have had that. You can have someone that's been in the business for a long time with us at this company that may be struggling a little bit on the product. And you can certainly have people that come in from all walks of life that don't necessarily know or understand or believe that this opportunity can represent what you and I know and believe it can be. So I want you to think about yourselves during this roadmap, but I also want you to think about talented people that you've identified on your team, people that you want to share these kinds of things with in the future, because I'm hoping this coaching becomes for you as well as for them. Okay, so in the ASEA Success Map, I always start with this. I consider myself a chief conviction officer. When I walk into a room, when I look into the eyes, even of our most senior leaders at ASEA, I'm constantly looking directly at them to try to assess where are they in their conviction set. I met people in Germany this last week that I've known for many years that are working with the company that I could feel were struggling with some measure of conviction in themselves and their ability to earn here. I met others where I could see right through their eyes and feel from them an intense belief and conviction. I could see that their engagement index was high and they were fully convicted and super confident that what they were doing was going to win and continue to succeed. I look for the signal indicators of that form of conviction. It's something in their eyes. It's something in the way they talk. And I want you to understand it's a starting point for you to kind of step back and assess where you are, but also think about the folks that you might be working with and for. When someone believes, they do. I don't believe any meaningful action occurs in life in the absence of belief. Many of you have heard me say that as I've shared the Genesis story, where I truly look back and say, I went through fear and doubt on my own regarding this product. I had to go through my own experiences with people, ultimately to arrive at a place of conviction that said, yeah, this is for real, and this has world-changing potential. But that happened to me over time. I had to build my own conviction. As far as conviction in myself, it's been born over years and years and years of practice, including the things I'm going to share with you. Conviction in self, I think, also comes from living true to your own beliefs and being true to yourself and true to the people that you care most about. I've talked a lot over the years about, I think, the lowest leveraged resource in the world is the human resource, that people don't believe in themselves. They've constantly been barraged with inputs or discounts or people that are trying to take away from their own beliefs. I don't think we live in a world that promotes self-belief. We have to find it in ourselves, and then we have to find others around us that will continue to promote that belief. And then lastly, the opportunity. I mean, if you'd have told me that I would know people across all dimensions that are making the kinds of dollars that I see go out of this company every single week. When I first started building this with my dad, I didn't believe it. I could not fathom or understand the liberty and freedom of economic opportunity that we would create. When you believe in those things, that belief becomes a propeller. It moves you forward. It creates confidence and conviction. And you're going to see, as I talk and coach with you over the next several weeks and months, conviction sells. Conviction is the drug. When people sense that you believe, they may have some sort of doubt about you or what you're doing, but if you have no doubt, you are never on trial. I've always said about my dad that he may be wrong, but he's never in doubt. And that's a good and bad thing, by the way. Try being his son. But think about that. Think about that notion of just getting so convicted that you're not in doubt anymore. You're not on trial anymore. People want to feel that about you. And that precedes meaningful action, and conviction sells and creates an emotional response in others. They feel that conviction and they want to follow your lead. Okay, so I like to pay close attention to conviction and clarity. I like to ask questions of what are you trying to accomplish here? I like to know why people are doing it. We all know the notion of start with why. What is your why? I don't believe people write it down enough. And I do believe that sometimes it's a little too general. So I'm going to be trying to pull out of you the real specifics of your why. And then product, self, and opportunity all have to be very deeply convicted things. What happens if that's the case? Well, I like to say that the next step for you is productivity. You're now ready to begin to move into the next realm on this map. If you have clarity and you have conviction, I can now expect action in the form of productivity. And when someone gets stuck between productivity and clarity and conviction, I love this question, and that is, what do you need to believe? In order to act, what do you need to believe? If you have people or yourself, you don't feel like you're moving forward, if you feel kind of stuck in the business, ask yourself this question: what do you need to believe? What do you need to believe? Do you need to believe that you're worth more? Do you need to believe that you can do it? What is it that's really holding you back? And this is a question I want us to spend some time on through these coaching sessions, because I think it's a great question to ask people who may say, this is what I want from ASEA, this is why I want it, but lack the productivity along the way to do it. I always like to stop and say, what do you need to believe in order to do this? I mean, what more do you need to have a conviction in? And then work on the gaps in that conviction to get them there. Now, many of you know, I used to work with one of my favorite people in the world. His name is Mark Nervolansky. He was a Russian vice president at Mutual New York, a dear, dear friend of mine. And he used to press me on this notion of productivity. And here's how he would teach and promote productivity. It was actually two things. It was product married with activity. If you think about those two words, productivity is really the marriage of a product married with activity. So products plus activity equals productivity. And he would always add this notion of passionate productivity. It's people that believe, and their belief is so strong and so deep, they start pushing themselves forward into a passionately productive lifestyle. Now, I spoke in Dallas at the Envision conference. I was in Germany just till Sunday, and the week prior was at our Envision conference in Dallas. And I took some time from the stage to share how I feel about productivity, how I feel about products married with high activity to create productivity. And what you're going to see is that when someone has conviction, deep, abiding conviction, someone has absolute clarity on what it is they want to accomplish and why, they're now ready to move into this place of productivity. And this is going to be a deep part of our second session that I want to talk to. What is productivity? How do you measure it? How do you know what the right things are to do? How do you keep the score? How do you manage and get to high activity? What does high activity enable in all of us? That's all of this second area on this map of passionate productivity. And I'm a big believer in controlling the controllable. And we'll talk about that in session 2. We'll talk about the power of high activity and controlling what you can control, allowing for others to make their own decisions and honoring and respecting their ability to make those decisions, but moving quickly to the next person and creating an activity vacuum that's constantly filled with people that you can share your conviction with. When that kind of conviction and clarity moves into the notion of passionate productivity, you're on your way to success. And I find that even those people that might be, let's say you're a bronze with this company and really struggling and wanting to push yourself to diamond or above, even anywhere you are in the system. I watch Trish Schwenkler very closely. She is constantly in passionate productivity, fueled by clarity and conviction. She's constantly keeping the score. She's constantly controlling the controllable. This is a framework that anybody, regardless of where you are in your business, can stop and think about as the You Are Here map I'm referencing. Okay. So what happens with passionate productivity is you need to break it down into emotionally doable components. That's something you hear me talk a lot about in these coaching sessions, EDC, emotionally doable components. What do I mean by that? Don't just say, I want to be diamond. If your what up here at the top of this screen here says, I want to be diamond with ASEA, and your why is to help your daughter go to college or to pay for the university or pay off your home or just pay your rent and get caught up on bills that you're behind on. Those two are healthy. Now move into this notion of what are the measurable productivity elements every week. And I'm a big believer in measuring activity and productivity every week that I want to track. And I'm going to finish each week holding myself accountable to the commitments I've made to myself in this area. So when we get to session 2, I'm going to be asking you to make some very specific commitments on weekly productivity targets in key areas that you can control. And I want you to track those, and I'm going to ask you to send me a weekly email feeding back to me on this results assessment, this red kind of circle at the bottom of the page here. I want to assess how you're doing against your activity and what it is you're trying to accomplish. Now, one of two things will happen at this point. If you're on target, okay, if you're on target, we're going to celebrate and you're going to continue to move forward. If not on target, in this little cloud down here on the bottom, if you're not on target to hit your results, then I always ask this very simple question. Is this a will issue, meaning desire and will, or is it a skill issue? If it's a will issue, meaning I've worked with lots of people in a self-motivated environment, when somebody reports their results at the end of a given week to me, I could always tell, right, quickly, if they were spending their time in high-impact, face-to-face type selling environments and communication environments, or if not. And if somebody wasn't putting in the work units, we used to call them work units, if somebody wasn't really putting in the activity, then we typically would say to ourselves, do you really know what you want? I would go all the way back to the top on this clarity thing. And I would say, let's say the person's name was Tom. I'd say, Tom, can we take a minute and go back and really see what it is that you want and why you want it? Now, it's common that people might say a lot of nice things. They may say pleasantries or platitudes, but they may not really be committed to getting there. And that's a will issue for me. And I found that I don't do really well working with people that might just be focused on, saying that they want something, but not willing to sacrifice and do that. So be careful as you spend time with people to really be clear, what is it they want? Give them every liberty to say it. I'll work with somebody that says, I want to make $200 a month. Perfect. You and I can work well together. But when they go to do passionate productivity, if I see time and time again that they're not putting in the work units or the effort, the controllable elements, then there's going to be a moment in time when I'm going to look at the result and I'm going to ask, if you're not on target, is this a will issue or is this a skill issue? Now, my favorite people to work with were the ones where it wasn't a will issue, but they were still struggling to get the result. They were believing, they had conviction, they had clarity, they wanted to work hard, but they just weren't getting the result they want. Well, guess what? That's an opportunity for skill. That's not a will issue. That's a skill issue. And that leads us to this next piece on this map. Skill development is a wonderfully powerful part of the ASEA success map. It's a part of everybody's life, learning and developing the ability to do things that you may not have known how to do. Many of you have heard me share the EPC formula when I talk about keeping ego and economic drives beneath your commitment to principles and purposes. But I've also got a C in that model, EPC, and C is for capacity. Capacity is skill. It's helping someone to understand and develop and get better at any number of small skills that are part of their productivity track. So I look at it this way. If there's a will issue over here on this bottom right cloud, If it's truly a function of, I just didn't put the time and energy in, I'm going to cycle that person all the way back up into clarity and conviction up here towards the top. I'm really going to try to probe on what it is that they want and why they want it, and if they believe in themselves. Because remember, if someone doesn't feel the will inside to really campaign their convictions to other people, we might have a problem of way above asking them to make phone calls or asking them to contact this many people this week. So it might bog down more in terms of who I am. What do I believe? Do I really have deep abiding convictions? If I can do that, I can come back into this productivity section and I can create a very clear communication and contract between the person I'm coaching and what I'm trying to build and what they're saying they want to do and accomplish. They give me the right to coach them on that. And then I put a productivity track together for the next 5 to 7 days. That's it. I don't overthink it out, 3 and 4 and 5 weeks. I simply say, let's talk about the next 5 to 7 days. What are the things that we can control and we can do on a daily basis that are completely inside your ability to control that will yield the kind of consistent results that we're wanting to get? Then come back, do the red section down the bottom, do an assessment. How did we do? Where do we stand? If the results are not on target, ask yourself, is it a will or is it a skill issue? Is this something in their heart they're struggling with that they really don't know what they want? Revisit that. If it's a skill issue, this is kind of the way I approach the skill development. I think of it as isolating areas. Is it a skill issue with how to communicate, what to say at the point of contact? Is it a skill issue in terms of generating top of funnel prospects? Who do I talk to? How do I get in touch with people? I don't have a list anymore. How do I build a list? How do I add to that list? It might be using tools to present. It might be something that has more to do with the actual follow-up mechanism. Am I making calls to follow up with people? It could also just be, how do I actually get the last 5 to 10 yards into the end zone where I actually get someone to commit, sign up, and build a support infrastructure around that person. And in our third session, this would be, so today is September, and this will be our November session. I'm going to go deep into this skill development set. How do you do this? What's the mechanism where you help other people generate and develop skill sets? And that's embodied in the acronym at the bottom of the page here that's called IDOCO. It stands for instruct or inform, demonstrate, observe, critique, and observe again. Now, when I told you I used to go on dozens and dozens of appointments with all the people I recruited, I used the IDOCO model. I would show it to them, so I would inform and instruct them. I would actually then demonstrate it again. After I showed it to them in a classroom, I would go out and demonstrate it in front of an actual prospect or a client. Then I would invite them to do it, and I would observe them doing it. I'd give them positive feedback first on the critique. I'd give them 1 or 2 things I thought they could work on, and then I'd ask them to do it again. IDOCO is a great framework for developing skills, and I want to teach you more about that in our November session. So what I'm trying to do is give you the high-level overview of the D101 course that I want to take you through along the way. I'm hoping this is making sense to you guys. I love You Are Here maps. I'm kind of a weirdo. I go to the mall and I just stare at the map until I figure out this is where I am. This is where I want to be. And my wife's like, can we please go? And I just love staring at You Are Here maps. This is a powerful You Are Here map that you can lever. So what happens next, right? If I've developed a skill, if you're passionate and productive along the way and you're developing new skills, then this next section is all about winning. This is about celebrating winning. It's about acknowledging winning. It's about communicating and recognizing and filling people with a sense of confidence and clarity. And I'm doing it. I am winning. I can do this. And as you can imagine, when people are getting paid, they're getting increased freedom of time. They're starting to see and feel like I can do this. They get recognized. They might receive pins and certificates. They get recognized across the stage or over an in-touch call or even in the back office. They start to sense and feel, and beyond their winning for themselves, that the product's having an impact on other people's lives. Guess what all of that winning starts to do? Think about it. It feeds you right back into clarity. It's like 1,000 exclamation marks on your what. It's 1,000 exclamation marks on your why. It starts to take your belief index and product starts to go up and your self starts to go up and the opportunity being real starts to fuel, and that conviction and clarity takes a step up in its index. It becomes stronger. It's not even something you're thinking about anymore. You're like, this is working. I'm starting to get money. I'm starting to see an impact in other people. I was recognized on the charge-up call. I got called out by somebody. I got an email from my upline saying, congratulations on your rank advancement. I'm starting to actually win here. And you can see that this map starts to become a cycle. Now, what breaks down? If somebody breaks down along these joints, if somebody's not getting the results they want over time, they don't see their skill development happening, they're not having an opportunity to see and sense and feel short-term wins, local short-term stuff where I can say, I'm winning, I can feel it, then they tend to start to slip outside of this thing. They start to fall outside the success map, and we leave people. I think of it like orphans. We are orphaning people all over the place that have huge desire, huge potential, and they're just as good as you or me, but they don't feel themselves inside of this cycle and this map. Now, think of the center of this, okay? One of the great tenets of strategic link, one of the great laws of strategy that my father has taught me is that strategy is creating an advantage by leveraging resources, by taking full advantage of the things that you have around you to differentiate yourself and to get a leg up and to have an uneven playing field. So the tools and resources that are available to you should be the lever points that you use to get yourself around this map and get it going faster and faster and faster, but also the people that you're enrolling in the Double the Difference Challenge, right? If you bring on 6 people, we want to put them into this success map. We want to start getting clear on what we're doing to help promote clarity, conviction. What kind of weekly productivity expectations do we have for them? Are we having conversations about that? Do they know what they need to do to get to the next rank? Are we creating a results feedback loop where there's a form of agreed upon accountability? If they're missing it, are we going back to conviction and clarity, or is there a skill development need? How do I leverage tools and resources like in-touch calls, your upline, events, your comp plan can be a huge strategic lever to help people get where they need to do. Your virtual office, what about promotions like these new enrollment packs, 3-way calls? I just listed some of the tools and resources that can be the levers, the lever points that you use strategically to get to these outcomes, to get to conviction, to get to productivity, skill development, and ongoing winning. Now, this is my success map, and I wish I was in a room with you guys. I'd throw a marker board up and we'd start doing 90 with our hair on fire on this stuff. There's a ton of cause and effect on this little graphic right here. You can step back and see yourself in this. You can step back and say, you know what, we need to start over with somebody. Let's go ask them to write out their what and write out their why. What is it they want from this? And you can start pushing yourself around this cycle and seeing how success in ASEA is really a function of getting really good and fast around this cycle over time. Clarity, conviction, passionate productivity with weekly results and outcomes where you assess those results and determine if there's a need for greater clarity and conviction to strengthen the will, or if there's a need with help on saying, well, what do I say? How do I say it? What question do I ask? How do I approach this person? How do I use tools? How do I quit acting like a chemist or a biology major? You don't have to be. And we have great upline leverage support that can teach those things. And then early wins, quick wins, recognition, money, time spent and saved, impact that people are having through testimonials and other things. And you can start to see this thing going in circles. So what I was hoping to do today is zoom in. It's about 7:40. I've got about 20 to 25, maybe 30 minutes tops. And I wanted to just talk through how we're going to attack this over the next 3 months. And I'm hoping this is resonant with you. There's some rich things we can cover off here together. Session 1 is going to focus on this clarity and conviction exercise. And I want to do it with you, but I also want to challenge you simultaneously to pick 10, 5, 3, 6, the 6 that you've just brought on, and go through the same exercise with them as you're going through it for yourself. We're going to do that tonight with clarity and conviction. Session 2 is going to move us around this framework, this You Are Here map, success map, and really focus on product and activity. And when I say product, I don't know that I'm going to be doing a ton of product training, but I'm going to be talking about activity management modeling. What should people be doing on a daily basis? What simple daily, do the one thing type things should we be asking them to do? And what are the mechanisms and loops whereby we receive feedback from them as to how well they're doing? If most people left to their own devices without some sort of feedback loop, without some sort of accountability opportunity, are going to be left behind, and they're not going to do it. So I'm going to talk about that in session 2, which will be our next month session. And I'm going to combine in session 3 the last 2 sections of this success map. I'm going to go deep on discussing and telling stories about skill development. How do we help people to develop these skills? By the way, this moves right back up into conviction. People will gain confidence in themselves when they start to feel like, hey, I'm equal to the task. You may remember from our Ethos Academy or our Ethos videos, the notion of flow is a function of skill being equal to challenge. So developing people's skill sets as challenge increases is a surefire way to keep people excited, engaged, and in flow. And I'll be talking about that. And then I want to spend some time talking about winning, talking about this really simple notion of recognition married with compensation, married with the benefits of our whole opportunity coming to bear, calling that out, drawing attention to it so that people's conviction and clarity goes up even further. I'm always amazed. I just came from Germany on Sunday. I'm amazed at what it means for someone to just walk across a stage and to have, in the case of Germany, we probably had 500 plus people in the room, and to have hundreds of people clapping for you. I think we might forget, some of us in our lives, that people never have that experience. People are going to work every day. You guys may still be going to work every day somewhere else, but not getting recognized for the accomplishments and impact you make. And I want to go deep on that in our 3rd and final session of this D101 level stuff. Okay. Are you doing okay? Thumbs up. Everybody's feeling good? Okay, good. I want to take you through now this session 1 exercise with you for just a minute. And I want to ask you if you're willing to do some homework assignments for me. Even if you're triple diamond on this call, I don't care. I want you to go back to the beginning, and I want to become your coach. I'm going to read your emails. I promise you that I will take time to read your homework assignments. I will not grade them, but I will read them, and I'll even maybe shoot an email back. I can't get back to 170 plus people, but I can shoot a note or 2 to each of you from time to time as I see or sense something coming out. And I want to zoom in first on the clarity section of this. I really want to talk about where do we get clarity. So just like I mentioned earlier, I'd like you to take the first homework assignment is this. What do you want from your ASEA business? Now, I've asked this question in large settings before. Some people will say to me, I want freedom, or I want, a form of happiness. I love all those answers, but I want you to literally sit down and think specifically, what is it you want from this? What are you trying to accomplish from your ASEA business? I want you to try to think about it in terms of quantitative and qualitative. What are the things that I'm trying to do? Are you trying to pay something off? Are you trying to equal your rent or your mortgage payment? Is it a car? Is it car insurance? Is it a son going to college or a daughter going to college? Is it, I want to quit my job someday. I want this to be my primary opportunity. Think about what you want from it. And here's my question. Have you ever written it down? Have you ever really stopped and said, what do I want? What do I want from this? You may have one time been through a training I offered called the 6 Ds equivalent to success. And they were words that started with the prefix DE, which means equivalent to. And the 6 Ds equivalent to success, the very first one is desire. And if you separate that word, the prefix DE actually means equal to or equivalent to. Take the second part of that word, it's desire, it's sire. So desire literally means equal to sire. Now, what is sire? What does that really mean? Sire means Lord. It means father. If you're a sire horse, you father other horses. It can also mean creator. What I'm asking you to consider doing here is really get clear almost at a spiritual level on what it is you want to be the Lord and creator and father of, or mother. What is it you want to create? I'd like you to give more color and commentary to that than just one line. I want peace, love, and happiness, or, world peace. I get all that. I appreciate that. And you can throw those in. But I'm asking you to spend a little more comprehensive time on this. We have a few weeks before our next session. I'll be announcing the date for that at the end of this. So would you just take some time, even if you spend a little time on it over several days, and let it kind of nurture and marinate in your heart and mind? What is it that I really want from this? Justin Wilson's dad was in the industry for many, many years. And I've had dinner with Justin in Europe where he has gotten emotional about the fact that his mother, the widow of his father, continues to get residual income checks from his dad's work of 30 to 40 years. Think about that for a minute. I don't know if his dad ever sat down and said, I want to create a legacy income stream for my wife in the event that I'm taken from this earth earlier than I hope. I want to create a residual leverageable income stream for my grandchildren or my children over time. But Justin has told me how that his father's residual income after his passing has been such a blessing to his mother. Now stop and think about that for a minute. Zoom out, sit down, get to a quiet place on a plane. If you've got some quiet time there, if you've got a special place you like to go to journal or to write things down, I really want to challenge you to take some time. And I'm coaching. This is me coaching you. If it was one-on-one, what do you want from this? What do you want this to look like? And the more dimensions and color and characteristics you can give to that want, that's what I want you to spend some time with. So that's homework assignment number 1. Are you willing to do that? Good. Okay. Now notice on the bottom of the screen here, I want you to send your answers to these assignments. Just put in the 2-line or the subject line, homework assignment number 1, double the difference, or DTD, and then send it to doublethe_difference@ASEAglobal.com. And like I said, my assistant Susan and John and the whole team will help to get those to me. And I'll have time as I travel and so on and so forth to read these. Now, I'm going to cheat and tell you, I love to read what people want to get from this. I believe the act of writing something down is an act of faith. It's an act of spiritual creation. And I submit to you, you'll get great yield from this exercise. Along the way, try doing this with a handful of your team members. Ask them to do the same along with you. Tell them you're in a coaching session with me and that you want to do the same exercise with them. Pick 5, 6, 7, 8 leaders or 8 really high potential people in your teams, or even just the 6 people that qualified you to get here that you personally enrolled, and spend some time asking them the same question. Deal? Okay, great. Let's go to the next one. As I mentioned above in this framework on the success map, I also want your homework assignment number 2. You can put these together in the same email, is why do you want it? And I'd like to challenge you again here. Don't just write, I want it for this real simple reason. Come up with your why. We had this incredible guest speaker in Germany that came to our event. In fact, he shot me a really nice email. I'm going to pull this up so you can hear what he said about ASEA. His name is Bram, B-R-A-A-M, and Bram is a world-renowned, I don't know what you would call him. He ran the whole Great Wall of China, the equivalent of a marathon every single day for the better part of 90 to 100 days. It was called the Great Run. And he came and spoke to the group. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I thought you might appreciate hearing from him. Bear with me a second as I search for it. And he came to the Germany event and shared with us the story of that. He also, now he's from South Africa, never having been on skis or in the snow in his whole lifetime, actually hates the cold. He actually skied to the South Pole in a race with all these different countries around the world. They took 3rd along the way. And this is what he said to me. He said, sent me a thank you note. Said, it was wonderful to meet with you and spend some short time with quality and with real people. A sincere thank you for having me speak at your conference. As I said, I speak globally on a regular basis, but I seldom feel an authenticity as I did last Saturday at your event, not just in the energy in the room, but even more so in the incredible compliments paid back to me afterwards that were humbling indeed. It's extremely rare that I feel a synergy that exists between people, products, and intention. And I'm looking forward to exploring more ideas how we can work together. Now, let me tell you what he taught us and why I'm bringing this up under the second assignment. He said there were nights when he would take off his shoes and rub his feet. Now, think about this, guys. A marathon equivalent every day for some 97 days with only taking 1 day of 7 off a week. You're camping in anything from arid desert climates to high mountain, frigid cold temperatures. And the reason he was able to do it is because he was doing it for Operation Smile, which provides surgery to children in Africa that have a cleft palate, that have been born with a problem. And whenever he felt like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore, the purpose, the way he put it is, I had a purpose that was greater than my ego. Sounds familiar to our EPC model, right? I have a purpose that carries me through the challenge and the difficulty that is so compelling to me, and I know has such an impact in the world, that I'm not going to dismiss it. I want you to get to that same place. I want you to really strip down and peel the onion as to why you want to do this. Why do you want it? Why are you willing to sacrifice and work for it and give your time and energy? And let me say this, if desire is to equal to siring something, deciding your why is also clear. It's a very important moment of decision that says, this is why I'm willing to do it, and document it. So your second homework assignment is to take some time and articulate very carefully why you want it. I cannot wait to get your responses. Don't send them in a hurry. Take some time, think about them, make sure they're yours. I had a great friend that said writing these things down can be a great opportunity for perjury, for lying or saying something you don't really mean. I want these to come from your heart and from your soul. What do you want from ASEA? Give me color and dimension to that. And then why do you want it? Now, I believe in coaching that until you know what someone's trying to accomplish, what they want to become, and why they want it, you can coach as much as you want and you won't have success. If these are truly coaching sessions, the very first thing I have to know is, what do you want from this? And then why do you want it? Now, if you give me the liberty, and once I read those things, then I'll coach you. And it might even be asking you to do things that you're uncomfortable with. But coaching is the ability to get people to do something that they don't want to do inherently, but in order for them to become what they want to become. If you know what it is that you want to become from your ASEA journey, then you can give me and others, your upline and others around you, the right to coach you and hold you accountable to it. These are two big important steps. Okay, we good? You guys willing to do that? Perfect. Let's plan on you getting those sent over to me sometime. Let's say, give me a few days before our next session, but sometime in the next few weeks. Take some time to do that. Okay, let's pivot now to the conviction side of this opening section of the success map. And this is kind of the one thing I'd like you to consider. On a scale from 1 to 10, how strong is your conviction in, number one, the product set that we have, and start with the Redox supplement and the Redox biochemistry that we have. But this is true of RENU 28. This is true of a RENU Advanced, if you're in markets where that's available. This is, how deeply convicted are you that we have something unique, life-changing, and that's high impact? That's what I want you to think about on this. Number two, on a scale from 1 to 10, how strong is your conviction in yourself? And think about it from the perspective of going all the way back to how you view yourself, the home you were raised in, the people around you that had influence on you. I really want you to say, particularly, how strong are you in your conviction about yourself being able to do this, being able to succeed, being able to reach heights that right now may feel out of reach, whether that's to go from bronze to silver, to platinum, to wherever you feel like you're trying to get next. What is your conviction level in yourself to be able to do that? I'm truly a believer that most people are struggling with a conviction at some level inside of themselves. And then the third one I want you to talk about is, how truly convicted are you in the business opportunity? So this would constitute homework assignment number 3. I want you to take some time and reflect on those 3 levels of conviction. I want to hear from you about them. And feel free to give me the number and then maybe some thoughts or some concepts about it. What is it that constitutes? If you're an 8, 9, 10 on your conviction on product, share a couple lines with me as to why. Have you had a personal experience? Has someone else had an experience that you know and love? Have you seen the impact of the products in other people? Has it just been born of trust in your upline or testimonials of others? Take some time and tell me why. What about yourself? And I think this is a tricky one. I think most of you might be a little uncomfortable talking about this, but I'd like to hear your conviction levels in yourself. And then I'd like to hear your conviction levels on this business opportunity and the ability to really have a high impact financial outcome in your life by virtue of getting involved with ASEA. Okay, so that's homework assignment number 3. Let me back up. I'm going to go back to the first 2 assignments. What do you want from your ASEA business? Spend some time on that. Why do you want it? Be really clear. Spend time writing that out. And then next, on a scale from 1 to 10, how strong right now is your conviction in the product set, yourself, and the business opportunity? And I might even add to number 3, that could include your understanding and belief in ASEA as a company inside that business opportunity. Spend some time on that. That's homework assignment number 3. Okay. I'd like you then to do one more exercise. You can marry this with homework assignment number 3. This is the 4th assignment. I then want to challenge you over the next several weeks before our next call. I want you to send me a note and say, these are the things that I plan to do daily, weekly, and or monthly to build conviction in the product, myself, and the business opportunity. Let me tell you a quick story. When I was in the insurance industry, my very, very first year, maybe about 15 months in, I had done okay in a partial year of hire. So I was hired in October and did very well by year end. And then I hit this, I used to call it the sophomore year. It was the valley of death. It was the hardest time to keep going. I'd already worked through the people I knew, the lists of people that appreciated who I was. And I was now starting to get to a place where I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I started to really question whether or not I should stay in that industry. And I get humble when I think about that, because had I chosen differently, there would be no ASEA. I met and got to know the technology of ASEA by way of my last industry. And had I quit and done something else, I don't really know that I would have ever had that opportunity to be involved with all of you and to know you and to be around this technology and to have traveled the world with my father. It's a humbling thought when you think back on those inflection points. I went to a conference, and some of you maybe heard me tell this story. I went to a conference called the Superlative Sales Symposium. My company had thousands and thousands of sales reps across the country. It was a 170-year-old, $65 billion business, very large, very old. And every year they owned several resorts in the Phoenix area. They owned all the Point Hilton resorts. And so we would go to one of the Point resorts in the Phoenix Valley, and thousands of us would gather together for these huge conferences. And I took a class there where I was challenged to raise money in 4 days for a charitable cause. And the teacher of the class was trying to teach us that you can do things in just 2 or 3 days to meet people and to make a difference and to have an impact in the world. So we chose to give some money to the Ronald McDonald House. And I was put on a team with a few people in this class. We were competing with several other groups. And we decided that what we would do to raise money was we were going to go and interview the top producers in our company. These would be the highest ranked equivalent in our company, each of which was making north of $1 million a year, in some cases several million. And we were in our first year in the industry. We were brand new people in this class. We decided we would take tape recorders with us. This is back long before digital devices or phones. We took cassette recorders and we went and interviewed the top producers in our company. So picture I'm on Monday at this event. It's only a Monday through Thursday event. I've been tasked with this at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. The class has started, and I have to use my free time during breaks and lunches, dinners and after the evening events to try to find time to raise this money. Now, I remember one group went out and just bought raffle tickets, and they gave away a TV. And so they just went around they all had rolls of raffle tickets, and they just sold them for $3, $4, $5. And I remember thinking we chose a much harder thing, because we had to develop and produce all these interviews in just 3.5 days of all the top producers. But I'm going to tell you something. It changed my career, because I took advantage of being at a conference, and I went and met with over 12 of the top producers in this company. Some have worked there for 30 to 35 to 40 years. When I told them what I was trying to do, that it was for charity, that we'd been tasked to do this during this event, they were all willing to meet with me. And they all made time, early mornings, late at night, on lunch breaks. Some of them went with walks with me, and I recorded it while we were walking. And then I would go back to my hotel room, and I would literally spend 2 and 3 and 4 hours a night. I averaged about 2 hours of sleep every night that week. But I would put headphones on, and I would type and listen, and then hit stop and rewind, and I'd listen again, and I'd keep typing. And we typed out about 25 to 30 interviews with the top producers in our company. We ran to Kinko's on the Thursday night or the Wednesday night before the final event. We printed up all of these booklets, and we sold them for $10 or $15 a piece. And they were titled Everything You Wanted to Know from the Best, but Were Afraid to Ask. And we sold out of them immediately. I think we made $1,000 for Ronald McDonald House. The raffle people made like $3,000. They beat us. But what they didn't gain is what I gained. I built relationships in my first 1.5 years in this business with the top 10 to 12 producers in my company. One of them took me under his wing because he was so impressed with what we were doing, and started sending me cassette tapes and letters. And my conviction and belief in the industry and the opportunity I was associated with went up. I started to hear from and talk to the people making millions of dollars a year in a business where I was having a hard time figuring out how to get someone to answer a phone or write me a $20 check a month. And what happened was I gained a deep, abiding conviction in what it was that we were doing. And I started to believe at a very deep level. So think about this. Identify 2 things you'll do daily, weekly, or monthly. That could be reaching out to your upline, talking to the leaders that are rank advancing, asking them what they're doing every day and how they're doing it. And I think that's going to be an important piece of your success. So give some thought to this as your homework assignment. Okay, I need to take one break for just a second and grab a quick drink of water. I'm going to pause this share. I'm actually going to let it go for a second, if you'll bear with me. And mute. Okay, thanks guys. I just had to grab a little water. I'm starting to lose my voice. Okay, so you get what I'm trying to do here. Identify 2 things that you're going to do daily, weekly, or monthly. Can be all daily, can be every week I'm going to try to do something, or every monthly, to build conviction in these 3 key areas: in the product set, in yourself, or in the business opportunity. I can think of lots of creative things. You could call and ask to speak. Well, I probably shouldn't say this because you're going to be mad at me. Ask to speak to Scott Aldred, who runs our production facility. You could speak to Dr. Rob Ward, who runs the redox.com. Reach out, send him an email. You could reach for testimonials from your team to build understanding in the product. What about yourself? What could you do? There's several ideas to build conviction in yourself. You could read a self-help book. You could do daily positive affirmations. You could create a gratitude journal that's going to help you believe in all the good things that are happening. You could reach out to family and friends and even close folks in your business and say, would you mind sharing what you see my top 2 or 3 strengths are? And let all this flood of love and energy come back to you that'll help build your conviction in yourself. There's so many creative ways and different little daily things that you can do that'll help you build that conviction in yourself. It's going to help you in times when you're down. And what about the business opportunity? Just like I mentioned, I interviewed the top 12 in my company when I was in my first year in the industry. I learned so much from them. I learned that if you stayed the course, you know what every one of them told me? They wanted to quit when they started. And for me, knowing that I was thinking about quitting, and these people making $1 million a year were telling me, Yeah, we all thought about quitting. That's normal. I went back and recommitted myself. I broke records in the next 6 months. I was absolutely unstoppable. That preceded me becoming a sales manager, then a national director running all the training schools, then the youngest general manager of my company, then a vice president, senior vice president, and ultimately a chief distribution officer. I owe so much to those people that helped build my conviction in the opportunity I was at. I think the same can happen with you. You can talk to people that are succeeding, see who's rank advancing, shoot them a note, ask somebody in your upline who else you could talk to that could build your understanding. Reach out and ask for a call with one of the corporate leaders to tell you what they see success happening, real checks that are really being paid to smart wallets that are real dollars. You can see what I mean. I think there's 1,000 things you can do. I just want you to identify two things you want to do daily, maybe a couple things you want to do weekly in each area, and lastly, in the business opportunity. You could build a little matrix and put products, yourself, business, and then put columns as daily, weekly, or monthly, and just list some things you're going to do in there that are going to help reconnect you to the conviction side of the business. So this is homework assignment number 4. Will you do it? Okay, great. Now, let's go back to this notion. I'm just going to wrap up right here. It's a little after 8 o'clock, so we're right about on time. I want to model out session 2 for you. Is going to be, as I mentioned to you, this product and activity session. And I want to do that session on October 20th, this next month at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So same time, but I believe you'll note that the 20th has moved to a Thursday night instead of a Tuesday night. I'm hoping that works for everybody to join us. Again, John and team will be recording these and then rebroadcasting them, I think, once or twice for those folks that are around the globe that might not be able to join us live. And that's going to be about product and activity. I'll review some of the homework assignments on the clarity and conviction part, share some of the stories and insights I gathered from you. We'll have a little bit of a recap on that section, and then we'll dive right into product and activity. I'll have a couple assignments for you as well there. And then the third session I'd like to propose doing the week prior to the U.S. holiday of Thanksgiving, which will be Thursday, the November 17th, also starting at 7 p.m. that night. And we're going to have a really robust discussion about skill development and winning and how to create activities there. In each of these, I'll be creating really small homework assignments, things that you can do and share with me. I understand if you can't get to the homework assignments, still join the call. It's great, but I'm hoping I can get you to go through this. If I'm going to spend the time coaching you, I just want you to find that little bit of time, early morning, late in the evening, on a lunch break, wherever it is, and try to do these assignments. I think they'll be additive and helpful to you. Okay, so hopefully this has made some sense to you. Hopefully you're getting a feel for some of the coaching things I want to share on this mindset skill set side. I want to spend some time first off talking about the very fundamental roadmaps and You Are Here maps that'll help you to succeed. And frankly, as you can tell, I'm also talking a lot about the teams that you're currently leading. Use some of these tools in real time. Ask them to do the same homework assignments I'm asking you to do. Let them know we're doing them together, and you thought it might be a fun exercise to reach down to them and get their inputs as well. And hopefully this is helpful to you. I know it's going to be rebroadcast again, and you'll have an opportunity to get a chance to go through this content if you want to go through it twice. And like I said, I'll be reading all the inbox stuff to the Double the Difference Challenge email that I shared earlier. So I'll be looking forward to your answers on this. Let me finish with just this notion of gratitude. I can't thank you enough for your contribution to this company. I love this company, and I love each of you. I genuinely do. I feel it in my heart. Every time I'm on the road and I'm around the people that are out working and doing this on a daily basis, I feel humbled. I feel privileged. I feel so thankful that I get the chance to work with and be with people like you. I'm so grateful for so many of the people around the world that are contributing to ASEA. I'm amazed when I looked at the list today of people from all over the world. I have people on this call or joining us on the rebroadcast from all the way from Switzerland and Sweden and Norway and also over Europe, down into Mexico, all the way down under to Australia. It's just a humbling proposition, and I just want to thank all of you for your contribution to this great company. I feel it a real privilege to be associated with all of you. Grateful you could join us on this first call. I'm hoping I'm scratching an itch in the middle of your back. I know you probably want more. You definitely want to get to the Stratling stuff, but this is rich material that'll help you guys to build your businesses in the short term. Hopefully it's not overly redundant. Hopefully it's something, a new, fresh perspective on kind of how you can grow and build your business. I thank you for joining us tonight, and I cannot wait till our next session because I love to train and talk about this stuff. John, I hope